Uh, pardon me as well that my organization or my own standing might not meet your expectation. But there's always another day. So in the context of your invitation, I said it would be important as well for me to start with one of the major milestones of President Muhammadu Buhari's regime since his inception. In Almighty's Providence, May 29, 2015. In my own reckoning, his greatest achievement is that he had embarked on what I call the Buhari Agrarian Revolution. I abbreviated it with the hashtag Buhari. And for me, it is a roadmap to Nigeria's resurgimento. Our people, especially the teeming youths and women, are yet to embrace this milestone as expected. Hence, one sincerely, I appeal to the fourth estate of the realm to join the Enlightenment Crusade and spread the good news. Buhari, which was launched on 17th November 2015, in the early stages of the Buhari administration, is a policy dear to Mr. President's heart and his initiative. It touches on our common heritage and our uncommon Almighty God's endowment. What is the uncommon Almighty God endowment Nigeria has? Is that every square meter of the almost 4 million square meter space of Nigeria is fertile and provides a luxurious life for any species of crop on earth. That all that is required is for us to utilize the natural endowment we have as a people, especially for the youths. Once visits around the country raises my hope. An example is when I visited Benin, what they call the well hosa greenhouse farm. It's a vegetable farm with all varieties of tomato, pepper, carrot, call it. And when I asked Brighty Okumbo, the managing director, a young man of less than 40, he said he supplies 3 feet container, a 3 or 40 feet container of vegetables to major retailers like the ShopRite and others. I said, have you started exporting? He laughed. He said he's coming to that. That there was a shortfall with the COVID when the South African suppliers that supply ShopRite Nigeria fell short. And he mentioned some of his colleagues, one in Taraba and other places of the country, all youths. Secondly, is rice production. Going by the records of the president of the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, RIFAN, Aminu Goroyo, he said we rose from about 3.something billion metric tons to today where we are in the neighborhood of between 5 to 6 metric tons of rice. And same is applicable to wheat, sorghum, cassava, palm production. The World Food Agricultural Organization, whereas it praises Nigeria for such an effort, it also says that Nigeria should embrace more the Buhari agrarian revolution, because that what is assured one is that any farmer or the collective of Nigerian farmers, if we increase in a massive number, that the first market we have is our people. Because the farm products are consumption. Where we eat in the morning, we eat in the day. And the more you produce, the cheaper it becomes. In mass production, the entire society benefits because it becomes cheaper. And when food becomes cheaper, the children in the household eat more. It's very rare today to find people who are kids who are suffering obesity like in America, because they have reached their zenith of food production. And we can do that to ourselves. You can imagine what could have happened if the COVID had occurred and we were not yet in any way stepped into the Buhari agrarian revolution. Because Mr. President, gentlemen of the press, you, as my colleagues, you have the records in your palm. He's the only president or head of state post-1970 who had invested more in agriculture. And the good thing that happened to his investment in agriculture is that the major investment Mr. President did in agriculture is extra budget cathedral. What he told the CBN, he said, when he asked about what is hindering the farmers, they told him they cannot go to the banks because the interest rate is like a shallow banks, is prohibitive. So he told the CBN that the little reserve that is in the Nigerian Commonwealth should be utilized, reduce the cost of interest rate for the farmers. And that's why I mentioned here that one of the aspects that interests me mostly is what the variant they call the anchor borrowers program, where that is communal based, and where the individuals are known, they have their numbers, they have their BVN, and they also give them high yield seedlings, fertilizers, and other inputs. And they also create overtakers that buy the harvest, so to avoid waste and go into their processing plants. So I said here that the truism is that the 5 decades post 1970 Nigeria, almost 2 generations in sociological terms, no military head of state or civilian president has deeply thought of pragmatically shifting our attention back to agriculture, mobilized men and materials, nor committed much humongous amount of money in the transformation and modernization of agriculture in Nigeria than President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. I start to be contradicted. So what am I saying? I'm saying that Nigerians are doing well on the ICT. It's a new horizon. And there's some Nigerian companies, like InterSwitch and all that, they are doing well. But like in America, the Silicon Valley produced Google, Twitter, Instagram. But they are managed by a few people. But we have a record of all records of over the years that in the population, our God-given population, that is heading above 200 million, that about 70% are into agriculture. And guess what? Most of them are into subsistence farming, which some people call the smallholder farming. And Mr. President held a meeting and said what must be done. They said, Mr. President, the only way they could migrate from subsistence farmers to commercial farmers is that you must mechanize Nigerian agriculture. And that's where the Ministry of Agriculture had come with what they call the Green Imperative project or program. What is the Green Imperative saying? They want to import agricultural machinery of all sorts that will be adaptable, both planters, harvesters, what have you, that will have over 600 tractor servicing centers. So that what happened in the past, where they come in and if the tractor is faulty, it is abandoned, will not happen. And they will go into relationship with the private sector. So that at each location of the country, whatever that the crop is suitable, there will be suitable tractors and other agricultural machineries and inputs. And there will also be over 100 agro-processing centers. So that if you produce cassava the way you're doing, you have a processing plant that can process it to starch, to pellets, to whatever, all the varieties it has. Same thing to wheat,